On this episode, you can hear us grill Lucy Mancey. She's the new head of membership and engagement for British Skydiving. We want to know why she's getting the big bucks. Craig tells us British Skydiving isn't like when he ran it back in the day. It's all changed. We touch on the Aerodyne Icon situation, although Lucy couldn't possibly comment. Lucy tells us about the time she studied at the School of Hard Knocks, and there is more banter than you can shake a sub flap on a container at. Well, hello there. Today is Monday, the 10th of May, 2026, and this is RSUK episode 108. Joining me from the Devon studio is a very rosy-looking Lucy Mancey. Hello, Lucy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And joining me from the west of the UK, but not as west as Lucy, is a very grumpy-looking Craig Poxon. Hello, Craig.
Hello. Working with you, Brian, does it to me.
Likewise. Listeners, hello. We love to hear from you guys. So if you'd like to contribute to future shows, post on social media and tag Radio Skydive UK, or email us, or better yet, record some audio on your smartphone and send it to studio@radioskydive.uk. We love to hear from you. I'm going to do a quick couple of shouts outs later to some people who've reached out to me. Lucy, welcome to the show. What do you do?
What don't I do is probably the better question. Jack
clean
of
the
all
toilets?
trades, master of none. Actually, no. Although I did used to do that at Netherhaven many, many moons ago.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those other jobs where I just kind of got involved and did everything. But yeah, as you said, I am now working for British Skydiving full time. I kind of fell into this role, I suppose. It's a lot. It's been quite challenging over the past year, as some of you may well appreciate. Craig probably more than not, because he's been my agony aunt over the last year. But no, I'm very, very happy to be in this role.
It was
and
a
I'm
mutual support
excited.
network.
Is that what we're calling it now?
What was that? An emotional support network?
A mutual
I think you said
support
mutual.
network. Yeah.
I think emotional works as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had an emotional support Charlie on last show. Maybe you need one of those.
I've got an emotional support dog.
You're going to say Brian then.
I thought you said Ryan as well, yeah.
No, that's my emotional support hippie.
Who are we talking about, Lucy?
Ryan.
Yeah, for our listeners who don't know you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my husband, Ryan Mancey, also STO at British Skydiving. And skydiver extraordinaire.
Officer.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Craig, you're getting sick of the sight of me by the sounds of it.
This is, yeah, so after the drought of the last few years, this is the fourth recording in how many weeks? 7 weeks? 8 weeks?
Yeah, well, every 2 weeks at the moment.
Yeah, crazy. How long could we keep it up for?
I don't know. Well, there's drugs for that. But also our social media manager can't keep up with the content that we're producing. So apologies, listeners, if you're going out looking for photos and things, but they will be there as soon as our staff member gets their finger out. Lucy,
is that happening?
Yeah, for sure. It's I've seen it. It's on their list. I've heard that person looks at it every day.
Right?
Say that again.
You're their boss. Tell them to pull their finger out. Or they're going to be out.
Yeah, something like
that. I can't.
Oh, Lucy, I heard you grounded icons.
Yeah, personally, I personally grounded icons. Heard it all here first.
Hands up if you've got a grounded icon.
I'm going to hold Ryan's hand up because my husband does have a grounded icon. He was obviously more instrumental in the grounding than me. I just put it on the website and the social media channels and then cop all the backlash. Craig.
Okay, so we probably should actually just clarify, because I think we got carried away with what actually do you do? You're the head of membership and engagement.
Yeah, it's not the most descriptive title, really. So my role encompasses managing the membership services, competitions and events. So that covers all of the UKSLs, Grand Prix, Nationals, and then events like the Expo. Also the comms and marketing, although we don't do a huge deal of sort of marketing, but that'll be social media, email marketing, website stuff. And I also look after SkyVault, which is our members portal and the back-end CRM system, and work with the developer to try and fix the bits of that don't always work as they should. So yeah, I'm quite busy.
How long have you been doing this role?
This particular role, a month. I stepped into this full-time role in April. But prior to that, I started as a contractor last year around memberships. I had no intention of working for British Skydiving, but I spent enough time in and out of the office picking up Ryan from the office that I heard all the gripes around the new membership system, and people were sort of just struggling with the influx of renewals and learning how to use the new computer system, and it was stuff that was all in my wheelhouse. So I sort of put my hand up and said, look, I'm self-employed, I've got a few hours a week I can help out with. How about you give me a laptop and a phone, and I'll just hop on board and I'll start helping process things. So that was how it started. Fast forward a few months down the line, and I started looking more and more into the SkyVault system, the membership system, and how we could make it work for us better. Because although it had been put together and designed by developers and a contractor, they hadn't worked at drop zones, they hadn't worked in the office, they weren't skydivers. So there was a lot of areas that didn't quite fit together. So I started working with a developer who was sort of part working on the project back then, and started sort of helping him implement some of the changes we needed to make the system fit British Skydiving better and fit the members better. And then off the back of that, towards the end of the year, I sort of stepped into a part-time employed role with British Skydiving, doing that and looking after the comms and sort of helping around the expo. And then when they advertised this role, it was just kind of a bit of a natural progression for me to stick my hand up and throw my hat in the ring, because I was already doing a fair amount of it. So yeah, so that's how I ended up here.
Did you think you were going to get it? You still had to apply though, didn't you?
Oh yeah, no, there was interviews. I genuinely didn't think I was going to get the job. I sort of was really quite sure that I was a shoo-in, and then they interviewed some people, and I didn't know who they were interviewing at the time. But I then sort of found out they were going to do another round of interviews, which really shook me, because I was like, oh shit, clearly I'm not the only contender here. So it turns out there were some really, really strong contenders. But yeah, I'm pleased to say I did get the role. I'm sorry
could
for
you share
those
the
who
names here?
didn't get the role. No, I don't think it would be fair for me to share the names.
Oh,
I
come on,
mean,
let
I
us know
could,
who
I could,
failed. Come
I
on,
could
we
share
love it.
the name of someone who contacted me who was really interested in the role, and they didn't get an interview, which was really sad, because I think that'd have been amazing. I mean, not as amazing as me, Brian, but I think you would have
Of course.
done an okay job.
Yeah, I thought about it. I like in 5 years' time, I think it would be my dream job. But I didn't want to give up skydiving.
You're probably welcome to it in 5 years' time. If
I
I
think-
last that
Brian,
long.
is that so you could quit British Skydiving for a third time?
Oh, I only quit once, and I had principles and morals, unlike yourself. So I thought about it.
You came back
What do you
and
mean?
then quit again.
Yes, to prove her point. I didn't quit a second time. I just didn't stand for re-election.
So that's
Thanks to you.
quitting in my book. I didn't leave till they pried my cold dead hands from the gavel, from the board table.
I think this does raise a really important point, and I think I'd really like to clarify for the listeners who don't always necessarily understand how British skydiving works. The amount of people who come up to me and they're like, "Oh, is that like a real job then, Luce? Or are you just a volunteer?" I'm like, no, there's real people employed at British Skydiving.
Who actually do the work.
Who actually do the work, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the board just,
just
give us lots to do.
Stupid ideas, yeah.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't quite understand, British Skydiving employs around 12 staff members full time.
Is it that many?
Everything. Yeah, so
that's way too many. Why can't you be more efficient?
Have you been talking to? Oh, I better not say any names.
Yes,
because people keep doing stupid things and making more work for them to do in the office. But yeah, we got
skydivers want more for less generally.
They do indeed.
Or maybe
But
now
yeah,
they
I
want
mean,
less
we've
for
got,
less. I don't know.
we've got everything from a couple of people in membership services who process all the memberships. We've got finance, we've got compliance. We've got the events and competitions team. And then on the safety team, they've probably got the biggest team. So you've got Jeff and Ryan and Trudy and now Pippa, who's recently come on as a data analyst, which is really interesting. She's gone back to like 1998. Every single incident and the injury report submitted is now all in one lovely, beautiful spreadsheet full of data that we will be able to draw things from. Well, it's going to be on better than a spreadsheet, Craig, but it's in a spreadsheet at the minute.
It reminds me of that old joke. What's the most popular or the most used database in the world? Excel.
Yes. Yeah. A spreadsheet. Yeah.
I mean, she's literally been pulling stuff off of old paper forms and putting it in there and things. So yeah, she's doing a really good job at the minute.
I've had to bite my
Are
tongue
you
so
right,
many
Craig?
times.
You sounded in pain then.
I'm biting my tongue.
Oh, go on, say it. Say it.
No. Oh no, because however I say it's going to come across badly. But
all the reason to say it.
I know, but we didn't employ this person to be a data entry person, did we?
No, and British Skydiving didn't fully employ her. The insurers put her there.
That's a very good point. 50%,
yeah,
half and
yeah.
half.
So yeah,
but she wasn't employed to be a data entry person. That's and the way, and perhaps I'm reading more into what you're saying than is the case. But and I'm sure it's more than just data entry because she's doing analysis as well.
Oh
but
yes,
this is one of my concerns when because I was still on the board when there was the plans in place to hire a data analyst, and my concerns was they would be spending more time dealing with the issues with the data than actually looking at the data itself. So
no, I mean, to be honest, most of the data from the last sort of, I guess, 10, 15 years is all digitized. But when you go before that, before it was digitized, that's what she's had a chance to go back through now and start pulling stuff, which for analysis purposes is really interesting. But yeah, we're currently working on I say we, I mean me and the safety team are working on like new incident reporting forms and systems that'll deliver that information straight into spreadsheets without any manual input needed.
Sounds like fun.
It is my life is rock and roll, Brian, I tell you. You're missing out. You should have gone for this role.
Maybe, but have you sold your rig yet? Have you given up jumping?
No, I finally repacked my reserve the other day though. I did my first jump of the year on Bank Holiday Monday, which actually we took Pippa for a tandem. So Ryan took for a tandem and I followed it out and pretended I could film it.
Remind our listeners who Pippa is.
The data analyst who just
right, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, yes. It was her induction onto the safety team.
Okay.
So when's Rob going to do his Skydive?
Do you know what? I keep asking him. I'm wearing him down slowly but surely.
10 years time.
And Rob is the chief executive of British Skydiving.
Sorry. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, he is. I'm just going to open my door.
I mean, that's pretty good going. I mean, fair play to Pippa because she's not been there that long. So to get on board and do a jump, that's good.
Yeah, she did. She did one in Australia years and years ago.
Okay.
So she was keen
to the story like that.
But we are going to take some of the other staff for a tandem. So I think Lizzie, our compliance officer, is next on our hit list. And she hasn't done one before.
Good. Yeah, I think, it's, just with members of the public, you can't imagine what doing a skydive is like. And people always ask, what's it going to be like or how am I going to feel? You can't explain. You just have to do it to see it. So I think, even if you don't want to do it again for a second time, I always say something everyone should try at least once. So I'm glad.
Well, and especially in the UK as well. If you're going to be a part of British Skydiving, you've got to jump out of a plane in the UK. Fully experience it.
And I mean, no disrespect to those that don't want to, because I would never force anyone, and it's not for everyone. But yeah, the more that do, the better.
Just a short story for you. I was chatting to Ash, one of the tandem instructors at Langer, yesterday, and we just grabbed a cup of tea each from the cafe, and he just raised his cup of tea to his lips and went, "I'm just going to go wash my hands again." And I was very confused by this because I hadn't fully followed it. And then I looked around, and the person said to me after Ash, "Yeah, unfortunately, that tandem student was unwell on the skydive, and Ash was going back to wash his hands for a third time."
Ew.
So yeah, it's everyone should do a skydive. Apparently the person was heard to say after they landed, "I had a cheeseburger for lunch. Can you tell?"
Oh, nothing worse than a tandem passenger throwing up on the instructor, apart from maybe the instructor throwing up on the tandem passenger.
I've only heard of 2 stories of people doing that.
Only 2. I mean,
Only 2?
That's too many.
I mean,
I've only heard of 1, but
Ryan will probably kill me for telling the story, but yeah, Ryan threw up on a tandem passenger once.
No way.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. He was doing tandems down at Dunkerswell, and it was one of those really, really hot days of the year, and it was a really, really busy weekend, and he must have got sunstroke, and he'd started to feel a little bit queasy on the ride up to altitude and thought he was going to be okay. And then as they got to altitude and the door opened, he was just like, when you just go white and your face
Yep.
just kind of shuts down, and he just taps the passenger and he's like, "We're staying on board and we're going to travel back down. I'm not feeling very well. We'll get you back up in a minute. It'll be fine." And the passenger was like, yeah, okay, no worries. And then Ryan said the moment he made that decision, it was like his body just went, "Okay, you can release now." And he just threw up. And he tried to grab a bag, but there was a hole in the bottom of the bag. So it's gone all over the passenger. It's dribbled out the bottom of the bag. And the pilot has just seen this little pile of sick whizzing towards him and has thought it's the passenger. So he was like, "Right, let's just dive this down." And when he landed, he turns around to say something to Ryan and realizes it's Ryan sat there, white as a sheet, passenger covered in sick, and just not doing very well. Bless him. He went back to the van and just like passed out for the day. Like someone went and checked on him, and he'd just been unconscious for the rest of the day.
Did the students get to jump?
Yeah. And funny second part to that story, I was over at the landing area at Dunkerswell, because they've got like a separate landing area to the emplaning point, and you can take the customers out to the landing area. And I was just helping doing some tandem catching, and I was stood there with a woman and her daughter, and I think it was her other daughter was doing a tandem, or a friend. And I was, "Oh, so have you jumped?" She's like, yeah. No, me and my husband came here and jumped, and we had a really great time. Although my husband was thrown up on by his tandem instructor. So I then
Did you
had
say
to,
anything?
yes. I was like, "That's my husband," and then he laughed.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
now we know 3 stories.
I want to know these other tandem instructors who throw up on people.
Yeah, the one that I know of is, not the throwing up happened on landing or just after landing. So the instructor probably shouldn't have got out of the plane, but did. So that one's not quite as good a story. Because I can't imagine that you would just get to the end of a skydive and suddenly go, "Oh, I'm suddenly feeling a bit unwell." I think you probably know before that. But anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I've never thrown up on a skydive.
I did have a
there.
student a couple of weeks ago. It might have even been my most recent student who was a little bit sick, which I've not had for a long time. And
I thought that was quite a natural reaction to being in close proximity to you, Craig. Sorry, a little bit sick just came in my mouth there. Sorry, what was your name again?
Just ignore him, Lucy.
It's only funny because I was trying not to say the same thing.
All right, you're all ganging up on me now. I'll just go, shall I? And yeah, so I had a bag in my pocket on my on my jumpsuit, but it'd been in there so long, it was so worn away that it wasn't the integrity of the bag was not great. So not sure if it actually helped very much, but yeah, it was quite a fortunate one. Not much went on. I think none went on me. Very little went on the student, just a tiny bit on the harness that I had to sponge off the glamour of being a skydiving instructor.
Oh, the joys.
Have you ever had an AFF student, Brian, that threw up?
No.
I've never
No,
heard
I'm
of
aware
one
of.
either.
Not I
They
can
must
remember
have
of.
done.
I threw up on an exit once. My own, but I had a full
Were
face.
you wearing a full? Oh no!
I was, yeah. So I as we jumped out, I just felt like, oh no, and I just didn't open my lips, and I just swallowed everything. Like I'm not
Oh,
being sick in my helmet. Yeah, but I couldn't be sick in my helmet, could I? I had like a 60-second, 50-second free fall to go, and then
I've
several minutes to get down.
nearly thrown up in my helmet before. I had it clutched on my lap, ready to be a sick bowl.
Is this
I was
an old
so
school
close.
story? Is this a heavy night in the bar and then jumping next day, which we don't do anymore?
No,
But
we would
we
never
used
do
to.
that. No, it was one of the Brit Chicks record attempts. I think like 2007 or something, and the weather was terrible, and they'd said categorically no jumping the next day. So of course we partied in the bar, and then suddenly there's like an 8 a.m. call kit on going on, and I was in the 8-way base chunk, so I was in the sky van, but it was from one with the side seats, so I was sat traveling sideways, and we went up there and we flew around and around and around and around. And then they're like, there's not a hole, we're coming back down. And at this point, I'm just like, oh, I wasn't the only one. I think the moment we landed and that back door came open, there was about 7 of us legged it out and were throwing up at the side of the runway. It was, yeah.
But that is probably the best. Is that not? Well, I'd say the best plane to be in. The visibility is not great, but you could open the door and everyone could just hurl out.
Yeah. I think it was the sitting sideways as we were going down. That just threw me off kilter.
And you thought you were lucky because you had a seat rather than being on the hard floor, and then live to regret that one.
Oh, the good old days.
That's
of the
lovely
Skydive.
Topics of conversation we have on this.
Yeah, sorry.
So.
Who started this?
Everyone should do a tandem. Every member of the public should do a tandem. Was I think Craig's suggestion. Yep. I just wanted to maybe not everybody.
And it's so this lady, as most people are who took recently, was mortified that they'd been ill, but I'm like, it's not the first time, it won't be the last. I mean, I thought, that back when I first got a tandems, I think my percentage of people throwing up was a lot higher because I probably wasn't tightening the harness properly, doing it incorrectly, which was less comfortable for people, and I was probably more aggressive in the canopy control, swinging people around, thinking they wanted to experience a fun ride, a high speed, high G-force ride, and I've learnt the hard way that actually a lot of people don't really appreciate that. And you throw in the mixture of of if people have been sitting out all day in the hot weather, or they haven't had any breakfast, or they've just had lunch before jumping up. There's a lot of factors. So I've been a lot more cautious these days. So I actually had gone a long time without being thrown up on. I think this is probably the first one since I started wearing a full face helmet.
I have,
but it doesn't generally happen in freefall. It's normally under canopy. Sorry, Brian, go on.
Well, just one more TI story that isn't mine to share, but I'm going to share it anyway because I know of a TI who was, I think they were fairly new at the time, and their student was sick, and I think they turned around and said, "I think I'm going to be sick," and they were sick, and this person wasn't quick enough to react and tried very quickly to shut their full face visor. Unfortunately, wasn't quite quick enough, and then yes, so then there was. So then they had sick in their helmet, and then they were probably sick back.
I know Ryan used to delight in sharing sick photos when he was doing camera, either outside camera or hand cam. He'd do still frames and show them to me. Oh, Luke, look at this one. This is a really good one. Just no, it's just awful.
Excellent.
There are
Excellent.
some
Well,
classics.
Ryan,
There used to be a Facebook group called Faces of Tandems where they used to. It wasn't just sick; it was people with their face distorted by the wind or losing dentures or stuff like that. But
Yeah, I mean,
there
there's
used to be
nothing
some
attractive
prospects on
about
there.
doing a tandem, is there? It's even worse back in the day when we used to have to wear frap hats. Like, no one looks good in a frap hat.
It still exists.
really. Anyway, moving on. Let's go. We're going to be here too long otherwise. Aerodyne icons. What can we talk about? So some are grounded, some are not grounded. Lucy, what
Yeah.
can you tell us?
And
Some
also
are grounded,
depends
some are not
which
grounded,
drop zone.
Ryan.
You're not Lucy, Craig. Shush.
It's my podcast. I'm talking about too.
I mean, I can signpost people to the British Skydiving website and news articles and safety bulletins.
Don't give us the old corporate
Right, all out.
line, party line. Tell us what we really need to know. Otherwise,
Just
you'll
tell
get
us the
members
gossip, Lucy.
getting ornery
Right.
and starting asking
So
pointed
I
questions
heard-
on social media.
I heard that Craig had an icon, so I personally told the safety team they couldn't unground them.
Yeah. And now
because
this
Craig was mean to me on Facebook.
this ex-chair throwing his weight around, demanding that he gets his rig sorted. Yeah.
Careful, it'll reflect the sun in your eyes. if you're
Yeah,
not
I mean,
careful.
I can't speak for the safety team. I know they've had multiple meetings with the not instructor examiners, rigger examiners. They've been in chats with Aerodyne about all the stuff. Yeah, I mean, some drop zones are still not willing to release the grounding on all icons.
What's
So
the actual process? What's the actual process of grounding or ungrounding a rig? So riggers committee is a subcommittee or a committee that feeds into the STC, Safety and Technical Committee. No,
not necessarily. So yeah, so you got Safety and Training Council, so STC.
Safety training.
Yep. Yeah, so they deal with things that are brought and raised to them. But the icon issue was off the back of obviously the fatality at Headcorn and wider concerns being raised that there was not enough information to categorically say it was one thing or another. There was too many unanswered questions. So, the safety team called together all the rigger examiners who were available and they sat for like 3 hours discussing what could this have been? Is this something we need to be concerned about? What's the best course of action? And that was how the initial grounding came about. It was off the back of, look, we seriously don't have enough answers to all the questions right now. So what's the safest course of action? And the safest course of action was to ground the icons. I know some people may disagree, but I think, the old adage of it's better to be on the ground wishing you're in the air than wishing you're on the ground. With a rig that, someone died on and they didn't know why. And we still don't know 100% why. All we know is there's several contributing factors that could have been a party to that. And until those things are answered or until it's identified, they're obviously, some of them are still grounded.
So all icons are grounded, the old style, the new style of all sizes, correct?
No,
But
so
now,
the new safety bulletin.
Oh, so no, this was originally. So they
yeah,
were
so
all grounded, all
originally
Aerodyne
it was a
icons of any
blanket
size, any
ban.
vintage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, until they identified some of the factors. I mean, there's been a lot of testing. Some of the drop zones have been testing stuff. There's been back and forth with manufacturers. There's been other countries. I mean, I suppose, the general membership might not be aware of how much involvement British Skydiving has with all the other governing bodies abroad. So like Ryan and Jeff frequently speak to safety officers from different countries. They meet and chat quite regularly and share their concerns around things. So those will be ongoing conversations around what other countries have found. Yeah, I mean, it's I suppose the main thing to point out here is it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It was a well thought out, like properly planned, let's look at worst case scenarios, best case scenarios, what are the risks, how do we mitigate those, and so on and so on.
So who makes the decision? Who made the decision? Was it one person like Safety Jeff, or was it the committee? Was it STC?
Yeah, Yeah, so it would, well, it wasn't STC, it was the rigger examiners were
So
called initially.
So why rigger examiners? Why not just people who are on riggers committee, the rigging committee?
I mean, because I would have thought the rigger examiners are the most experienced people when it comes to looking and talking about kit.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just
So,
confused
I
by
mean,
the
yeah,
process.
so
So
STC is made up of not just rigger examiners, it's made up of chief instructors, instructor examiners, team leaders. Like STC's a committee of people from all the different walks and backgrounds.
yes, and then it was a suggestion from the rigging committee that they were grounded, and then STC approved that.
No, it didn't go to
Is that
STC.
riggers just said that riggers have
The
the power
initial
to.
grounding was off the back of all the rigger examiners meeting with the safety team.
Okay.
And then them coming to a mutual agreement around what the decision was at that point. I mean, I wasn't involved
Okay.
in any of this stuff. All I do is put this on the website and share it on
Yeah.
social media. So I'm, you know, don't quote me on all of this. I can only
Yeah, I
say
understand that.
what I know from my position.
I was just trying to work out. So all icons I4 and above, which so the smaller sizes I1, I2, I3 are still grounded, but the bigger ones are now allowed to
Yeah,
jump with
so
the AAD moved. The AD cutter moved from flat 1 to flat 3.
I4 and I5, it's mandatory to move the cutter. I6 and above, it's not mandatory to move the cutter.
But most places are anyway.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
if most places are or not. I you know, I haven't been fully involved in what's being moved where on what rigs, but that's what the latest safety bulletin has agreed to.
Okay. And moving the cutter means that there is less closing loop to snake through the grommets and therefore get trapped potentially. Is that right, Craig?
Potentially.
You're not Craig. Shush.
I'm not a rigger.
No, but you've got an icon, so you're invested.
I think that is one factor. It's not. Yeah, that is a factor, a potential factor.
Yeah. But that's the one that moving the AD cutter fixes. Doesn't fix any of the others, does it?
Reduces.
Okay.
I mean, this is the interesting thing because, you know, and so I put a post on Facebook on a few groups the other day trying to find out how many people were affected by this, and I had a few personal messages about it, and I think I said it last time, but it's a bit of a wake-up call to people to better understand their kit and also the risks that we've faced. And I think this person that messaged me, I said what I just said there. First things first, I'm not a rigger. Secondly, there are no guarantees in skydiving. You know, a lot of people, clever people, do a lot of work and follow procedures and tests and things like this to ensure that things are as safe as they possibly can be. But there's still no guarantee, I think. And I'm not convinced this is an icon issue. And in fact, I think there's just been a safety bulletin in France about student vectors. Is that right?
Yeah,
Which
if I remember rightly,
issue.
there was something with vectors years and years and years ago. And like you say, Craig, this isn't a new issue where there's been something found wrong with
Mirage had a cutter bulletin in early 2000s as well. So yeah, you know, it may well affect more than one rig. So it's, you know, unfortunate for Aerodyne and for icon owners that this is affecting icons, but I don't think everyone should sit back and go, oh, you know, that's what you get for buying that gear, and I've got the best gear, and it's not going to happen to me.
Great.
So, and you know, I think that has opened a few people's eyes as to the potentials and the risks, and how complex these systems are. And you know, whilst there are thousands of rigs and thousands of people jumping them, and they do thousands of test jumps, actually, is the scale really that big? Because we're still a pretty niche sport. And I think what's going to come out of the investigations into this and the sort of the rumors and the private words that have been had with me on the side about what the issues might be with this rig is, it's like, okay, you know, what, you know, that why didn't people think of that before? It's sort of, you know, you think people would think about it, but everyone sort of takes it for granted that it's been tested and it's similar to how everything's been before. But just really small changes can have a big impact, and not necessarily an impact that is immediately visible, that only comes out in really edge cases. And, you know, unfortunately, there are, you know, the unlucky ones that find that out. But we best all learn from, you know, that sacrifice or the mistakes, you know, the accidents that have happened, as a result.
I mean, I was chatting to someone around about, like, how do they test the rigs, all this, that, and the other, and I was under the impression they test every size, every computation, they test with AADs, they test, and I was actually quite surprised how little testing is done on containers. Not as much as I thought it would be. I mean, obviously they're still testing and they still have to follow TSOs, but yeah, it was surprising to me, actually, how not every size is tested, and how they don't test to get it TSO. They don't test with AAD files because AADs are not mandatory all around the world. So that's
which
another,
is interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's TSO. So most of them are TSO C23C. I think they've got later ones now, D and E. But I think once you've had your rig TSO'd, you don't need to have it done against a later one. So if you've got your TSO C in the 90s or whatever, and which when AADs weren't very common, you know, but now it's de rigueur, and there might be some countries that don't, but I still think most people would now these days, where it's a completely different time in skydiving, that people do and will have them. So, you know, do these things need to be reassessed? And
maybe it's a sign of a shake-up around how these things are tested and sized and what they're tested against.
But again, it's so niche, you know, and it's the FAA who do a lot of this, because America's obviously the biggest place to do it, and they're not known for their, or they are known for their bureaucracy. So I think nobody wants to, you know, stir up that hornet's nest trying to get things changed. And it's a shame we don't have a rigger on here, and I'm now regretting not having brushed up on what the requirements are. But the only thing I can think about that I've ever read about the requirement for testing is that a reserve opens in 300 feet. Is that right? Am I making that up? Or so
No,
I don't think they look at the way
like
the flaps open or anything like that. It's literally the objective view of whether it's opened in a certain height. And so that's pretty macro compared to the issues that we're potentially talking about here. It either opens or it doesn't. And like you said, that doesn't even involve AADs. That's all from test jumping where they've done intentional cutaways. So, but, you know, so you know, coming from the software world, testing is a huge thing. But the number of times when you've racked your brains to do tests and people still break it in the real world, because you just can't cater for humans, really, because you could design the best system and somebody will find a way around it. Again, you know, there are no guarantees. There's nothing perfect, and people will find a way to hurt themselves and kill themselves despite everyone's best efforts. So, and I think people need to remember that, or be reminded of that. I think.
I mean, who knew skydiving's dangerous? It's still dangerous. Well, I think people forgot.
Knew. Yeah. I think newer people to the sport, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm paying them a disservice, but you know, we're a victim of our own success, because things have got better over the years through training and equipment.
And we've made training and equipment so good, but it is generally the human factor that causes most of the issues.
That's what I read that somewhere recently.
Well, I mean, I put it in my talk years ago.
I think, well, then your husband's copying you then.
I taught him everything he knows.
I bet. So actually, Lucy basically does two jobs at British Skydiving, because she's pulling the strings behind Ryan as well. So. I think Ryan was recently interviewed in a national paper, and he said exactly the same thing. But it's true.
Maybe he actually listens to me sometimes.
Only for important things like skydiving, not for anything else.
No, literally nothing else.
just before we move on from Aerodyne for a moment, I just wanted to AirTech, who make the Cypress, in December 2004, wrote a letter stating that it's over the years the task to open a container by loop cutting has got more and more difficult from an AED fire. Lots of rigs were redesigned to meet the requirements of free flyer speed skydiving. Efforts have been put into the containers to prevent them from opening prematurely and to protect bridles, risers, and toggles. And it's become harder for. So basically, on one side, the reserve container should stay closed under all circumstances in free fall. On the other side, an immediate opening without any hesitation is desired. So this has been noted on gear for 22 years at least, and rigs are getting safer and safer and safer, apart from necessarily when the AED is about to fire or when the AED is fired. So it's a tricky compromise between having a rig that won't open and keeps you safe in all orientations at all speeds, but also does open immediately when you need it to.
And that is something that's changed over the years as well, isn't it? That 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people were just on their bellies. These days, it's wingsuits, it's angles, it's free fly. So
speed skydiving.
Speed, absolutely. So rigs have become more engineered for that, but have they created an issue, which is what AirTech were highlighting that 20 years ago?
Yeah. Anyway, so to go with the recent incidents in the UK, a major national newspaper in the UK picked up the story and came up with the most lurid headline possible.
Oh yeah,
it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Freak accidents, suicides, attempted murder, the dark side of skydiving.
Want to read that? But is it going to hurt skydiving? It does, doesn't it?
No.
I don't know.
I think it probably helps.
I read through it and I was quite kind of concerned. That's all right, because someone flagged it up to me and I was like, oh god, shit, what has she written? Because I was listening. So the author interviewed Ryan a while back about this, and I was listening on while he was chatting to her, and her whole selling point is the fact she did a static line jump 38 years ago and broke herself. So therefore, skydiving is dangerous and it could kill people. And she even successfully sued the drop zone, and she goes into great depth about this. And every question she asked Ryan, he was just like, no, that's not the case anymore. And no, it's like we do this. And he shot down everything she came out with. But clearly she didn't like that because it wasn't following her narrative of how she wanted to sell this story. So there's a few very short quotes from Ryan in there, but obviously she didn't include the lengthy interview she had with him where he basically told her everything she was saying was nonsense. But yeah, I mean, did you read the comments on the actual article on the website?
Oh, never read comments on websites.
Oh, no.
Especially on the Tory graph.
There was quite a few skydivers who actually commented on it, and they were just saying what a load of nonsense it was. And then there was equally as many people who were like, oh, I did a skydive once. It was amazing.
So there you go. So the public are defending us. And as I was going to say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I think most people will go, oh, yeah, I want to do a skydive. And that probably won't put them off, I don't think. Because like you say, a lot of the references in there were very old. And a lot of things have changed since then, which
and annoyingly, what really wound me up was there's a picture of someone with a paraglider on the headline photo. I mean, come on.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, the one on the right-hand side. That's like a speedwing or a paraglider. That is not a parachute.
Oh, I've only got one picture.
Oh, yes,
red
it
and
is.
Orange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so it is. I get on the actual.
The top left one is as well because there's like a carabiner.
Yeah, it's the same picture, just zoomed in on his leg.
You're right. Yeah. And that one in the middle is pretty old as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when you had long hair, Craig, clearly.
I could never arch like that. Yeah, well, the press always love an extreme story, don't they? So to drag out. And this one had a personal touch, like you say, the lady had an incident many years ago. And I think still bears some trauma from it, and perhaps writing about it was some kind of therapy for her. Catharsis. She should get a podcast to
Maybe
talk about it.
she'd burnt through her earnings from
Payoff.
suing her payoff and wanted
Yeah.
to
Well, no, she said she used it
recash in.
to put down a deposit on a house in southeast London. I think, where was it? Brian, can you remember Camberwell or
Hackney or
something
somewhere,
like
wasn't it?
I thought it said southeast, but yeah, I don't know.
She's probably trying to
worth a
buy an
pretty penny to me.
Airbnb in Devon or something now.
Anyway, thank you, team. Skydive Headcorn, who did have this incident that's triggered this whole thing, have reopened to sport jumpers, but they've got quite stringent requirements for their sport jumpers. So let me just read this out to you. So all sport jumpers at Headcorn, minimum opening height, all skydivers must be open under a fully open parachute by 3,000 feet. So that's only going to affect C and D licensed skydivers anyway. The old school jumpers, they've got to go up by 500 feet. Reserve drills, all skydivers must practice their reserve drills monthly, and once a year these must be observed by an instructor. AADs, all skydivers apart from canopy formation jumpers must have an AAD that is set to activate no lower than 950 feet, which means a Cypress would be increased by 200 feet, a Vigil increased by 150 feet, and a Mars M2 increased by 100 feet. Wingsuiters need to complete a risk assessment form before jumping a new suit and must have their AAD checked at the start of the day to ensure it is set to an appropriate mode. All icons remain grounded at Go Skydive centres. Not a horrific list. I wish more skydivers did their drills more regularly.
I mean, I do mine every jump, like probably about
Don't
5
actually
times.
pull.
No,
But
I
you
don't
don't actually pull handles, though, do you? And you
Well, no,
maybe
I do that twice a year when I'm packing my reserve, but
yeah, easy for you to pack your own. But we should try and encourage it, I guess. And also, I think there are some skydivers that just forget which scenarios exist and which ones they need to be prepared for, and what
yeah.
they could. I know I did when I was.
I've had a fun idea for the expo. I'm going to wander around with some training harnesses and just put them on people and make them do their drills.
Maybe, yeah, maybe have a little corner for that.
We should be doing our drills more and practicing this stuff. I agree.
There used to be
Make it cool again.
a booth with
Flight line checking.
riggers. Yeah, flight line checking, and you'd go behind a curtain and you'd have to spot the 17 different issues going on with this flight line check. But because it was all behind a curtain, it was all done one at a time, so you couldn't cheat by copying what other people were doing.
What's it? I don't remember the curtain.
That was just for Brian.
Maybe
it was a special curtain.
Did you have to?
I didn't understand why I had to get naked to put this rig on, but yeah, I just did.
He was
long.
You did what he said, right?
Yeah. But I find it a bit weird that wingsuiters need to have their AAD checked at the start of the day.
So I was down at Dunkers Hall the other day.
A recent fatality.
And yeah, down at Dunks they do a visual AAD flight line check. So
for
you have
everyone.
to show someone. Yeah, everyone. You have to.
So
everyone has to see your AADs on before you put the rig on and then flight line check you.
Actually, no, it wasn't with you, Brian. I think it was another WhatsApp group because, we had a suicide last year where the AAD was switched off, and I was quite surprised that checking of AADs didn't become a thing on Flightline. And I know the arguments. People would say, well, if people want to hurt themselves, kill themselves, they can find a way around it. Yes, they can, but it's just another link in the chain that might stop them. And also it's not the intentional ones, it's also the unintentional ones as well, because we've also had issues where AD's incorrectly set, not just not set. So whilst it would be it would feel like a massive inconvenience, a massive pain to check that, and you get the arguments, oh, my AAD's on my back and you can't check it there. No bollocks. I've checked enough student AADs on their back before they started moving them to more accessible places that you got used to it. It wasn't a big deal. Just lift it up, shrug your shoulders, peer in, you can see it. So I was sitting there listening to that list of Headcorn stuff, thinking, oh, what a load of admin and a load of hassle and stuff, but also equally trying to balance it with this is what we do in skydiving, right? We mitigate risk, we learn from mistakes, we put systems in place to prevent things from happening that have happened before. So at what point does it become overbearing, rather than, and I'm not saying that those are overbearing, but I think that's a long list. So people might see them as overbearing and a lot of things to do, but maybe some of them are, things that we should have been doing a while ago and we haven't so far. So it does seem a bit of a leap initially, but and I know we get a lot of stick from around the world, but people tend to sort of catch up eventually that we are the nanny state. But and the argument, it's the argument about we don't have to jump out of planes, people don't have to let us jump out of planes, and if we don't learn from those mistakes, people will step in and either make us do them or stop us from doing them. So it's better for us to introduce those regulations beforehand. So are there any on there that are excessive, onerous, unnecessary? I don't know. So they said the wingsuits have to be, AEDs have to be checked at the start of the day. So presumably every AED has to be checked to ensure that they've been offset by the 200, 100 foot, whatever it is, for whichever one it is. That means every AED has to be checked at some point. So that is going to be a bit of a pain to administer, to keep a track of who's been checked and what have you. But so is the hassle going to is the benefit going to be outweighed by the hassle? That's the question. But like I said, this is what we do, don't we? We mitigate risk. We try and prevent things from happening that have been happened before. So, and I think everyone's natural reaction is just to go, more rules, but you got to remember why they're being put in place. I love that when I have a little monologue and everyone just goes, it's silence. Like, yeah, okay.
Oh shit! He stopped talking.
Sorry, I'll wake up now. No, I mean, when I was like doing 8-way training, I'd always show one of my teammates that I turned my AED on in the morning. Just always sense check it. But I mean, I suppose I am married to an STO, so I probably have that person following me around telling me what to do all the time. Luce, have you done this? Have you done that?
What our chief instructor has asked us to do at Langer is to ask what mode the AED is set to. So it's not a visual check, but it's a verbal check. And then if there's any offset. So actually, it's been really interesting having conversations with people who are just like, oh, I don't know, my partner set it for me, or I don't know, what should I do about it? I don't know. There are different modes. It was just really interesting having those conversations and helping educate people about their gear a little bit more. So I thought that was quite a subtle way of doing it, of getting people interested in learning more about their gear.
Yeah, because you put a nice post on Insta and Facebook the other day, didn't you, about your flaps? You showed us your flaps, Brian.
I did, and I got it proof checked by somebody who I trust and hold in high esteem, but they didn't still stop the internet from pointing out some errors with my things and other people getting grumpy with me.
Like, I do think
the numbering, the counting of the flaps,
something like that. That was pointed out by.
Oh, you talking about what I said to you?
You're one, and there was a few comments as well. Don't forget the sub flaps and or the a few other things as well. But yeah, and I knew it was going to attract some attention, and maybe I went a bit overboard. But I had never really looked at what was stopping my reserve from coming out until this time. I just pulled my handles and left. Then pilot chute comes out, and then you hand it to the rigger, and they just do their thing. I did back in the day watch Andy Hughes pack my reserve, and I asked so many questions. It actually took 8 hours to do. It got to 1 o'clock in the morning, and Andy was like, "We've got to stop." And I went back the next day after he finished his day job, and we did another 3 hours. So it was like a 2-day thing, and but I was getting a lot more
It'd been
information
quicker
than I
just to
asked
get
for.
your own AP rating, Brian.
Yeah, maybe. But no, packing is just so boring. Come
Oh no,
on.
don't you diss packing, Brian.
Oh, but I just find it so boring. Like I have
It's
to, like, honestly,
not.
packing my own
I
parachute.
love packing.
If I'm not racing somebody, I just find it so boring. Do
You're
you
just not
guys ever
doing
do
it
that?
right.
Yeah. Well, I got it down to 7.5 minutes the other day, which I was quite proud of. 7 minutes 50 when I was wearing it and hadn't stowed the toggles with my best one. So I either race myself with my stopwatch, or I have to pick somebody in the packing shed who's well ahead of me and go,
And then
right,
try and catch them up.
try and catch them up and beat them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise,
I
it just sits there for ages and I can't be bothered.
How many jumps are you averaging, Brian?
I've done 300 for the past couple of years.
Yeah. So I'm doing way less than that, so it's not really a factor for me. I don't get bored packing my parachute because I don't get to do it often enough, sadly.
Well, at the moment, it's 0, Mr. Icon.
Well, hopefully not for much longer. I have been rescued.
I've got a really old teardrop I could lend you, Craig.
They open really fast.
No flaps to worry about there.
My first rig was a teardrop. I will always have a soft spot for a teardrop.
Yeah, so was mine.
Never own one another. No, mine was an original. No, it wasn't an original. It was a 1-pin because the originals were 2-pin, but it was
Ryan had
the one with the old aluminium dome in the pop top on it. So I love that rig, but I wouldn't want another one. No, I've been a friend has stepped in and lent me a container. So my main and my reserve and my new AED is currently being installed in that. So hopefully I will be ready to get back in the air.
What container is it, Craig?
Why?
No reason.
It's a student vector.
It's an i7. Yeah. No, it's a Mirage.
Okay. I'll try not to find any safety bulletins on Mirages.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, there was as I said, there was a moving the Cypress cutter on, or an AED cutter on Mirage bulletin, but it was a long time ago. It's like in the early 2000s, I think, wasn't it, Brian?
I must have, like, Mirage are my least favorite reserve to pack.
So I heard that. So when I dropped it off for repack today, they were not that keen, and the person who it belongs to previously had an Optimum 126, and my reserve is a Smart LPV 135, and I looked it up and I think it said it will be a firm pack job, and my rigger concurs with that, but they weren't happy to, but not as happy to pack that one. I was like, I'm not making your life any more difficult, am I, by asking you to squeeze in a 135? And I think not really, but they weren't. It wasn't their favorite rig to pack either.
No, I mean they're fine when they're all packed up, but when you're packing them, like the pilot chute is just sits really weird and ugly. It looks really ugly for quite a while you're packing it, and you're like, am I doing this right? It doesn't look like this in the manual, because in the manual I'm sure they've gaffer taped it down. But yeah. No, Ryan used to have a Mirage. They're good rigs.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, we'll see when I get it back. I'll be looking at that pilot chute. So yes, thank you, Benefactor, mysterious Benefactor, for, because I was trying to, because I don't think this issue is going to be resolved that quickly with the smaller icons. That's me being a pessimist, and it's already been a few. Yeah, who knows exactly? And I was, it's funny. I was trying to get some answers out of the national governing body as to when we might have a resolution, but didn't get any.
I think I may have suggested you contact the safety team, but only because I obviously do not know enough about this subject.
Yeah. And I responded to that. Let's not go into that. So
the passive aggressive nature of this podcast is just taking a turn.
So I've been looking around for secondhand gear that might be suitable, and there doesn't seem to be a lot around. I think probably I was late to the party. I was more optimistic initially, thinking this would get resolved quicker, and probably everyone jumped in and snaffled all the good secondhand gear while I was still dithering around.
I mean, I've got a really nice Javelin I'm selling for a friend, but it's like 200 jumps new.
Ooh.
So I don't know what your budget is.
a
It's like
friend.
I think it's like a C16, C18 harness.
That
So
means
I-
so. This is the other
I
problem.
jumped to
So I have
C18.
no idea what any of these things mean.
Well, on a sunpath
So-
rig, the letters, the yoke sizing, and then the
Yes.
numbers like the main lift web length.
And what's a
Yes.
yoke?
Oh, okay.
And what's a main
So
lift web for
18
our
meters.
All
listeners?
right, the yoke bit that goes around your neck. So I'm gesturing, but I realise I'm not actually on camera. I'm just talking. Yeah, the bit that goes around your neck, that's the yoke.
So the
And
yoke is basically how thick is your neck?
yeah,
Kinda.
ish, I
Neck and
suppose.
shoulders.
How wide
It's-
are your
it's-
shoulders,
The
really?
shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more how
Right.
wide are your shoulders, and then the main
Yeah.
lift web is the length of your body, really measured against the harness.
But never having owned one before, I've got no idea what I am in other rig sizes. So,
Yeah.
which makes life even more difficult.
How
So-
tall are you?
180 centimeters.
Oh god, what's that in feet?
5'11".
5'11". Yeah, so you're probably about a C18.
Yeah.
So I jump a C18. C18 seems to be like the size that fits everybody.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're taller than me, aren't you, Brony? What are you, 6'1"?
6'1", yeah.
Yeah.
6'1", but I'm slimmer.
But so actually, the rig that this Mirage is built for somebody who's 6'1", so maybe it would be. So we'll see.
But also, it sounds weird, but a little bit of my height is in my neck and my head.
In the yoke. It's all in the yoke.
It sounds
You
okay.
sure you don't need a D?
Yeah, so it sounds weird, but so I've bought 3 wingsuits from the same guy now over the years, and from the shoulders down, we are almost identical in terms of sizing, and these wingsuits fit me perfectly. But I am an inch to an inch and a half taller than him overall, and yet the wingsuits just fit great. So I'm assuming the difference is just in my neck and my head, which is so I keep getting wingsuits from this guy. They keep fitting great. I'm super happy.
And there isn't much material on a wingsuit above the neck.
Exactly. If there's going to be
On any
a difference in the
jumpsuit, really.
measurement,
Unless you've got one of those ones with the speed
ninja
skydiving
boots.
suits with the
Surely it's in the
balaclava.
glutes, Brian.
So yes, I was looking for second-hand gear. There's not much around, so I started looking at stock rigs. If there was any stock, but even stock rigs don't come that quickly, and because they're stock, they're brand new, so they're not cheap. So I was starting to wondering what I was going to do, but unfortunately, a friend said, "Oh, I've got a container that might fit you." So
if you had access to this British Skydiving database, which I'm sure you don't anymore, even though you're an honorary vice president or whatever your bollocks it is, you could look up all the people who no longer skydive, and you could go, that person's about my height. I wonder if they've got their container sat in a wardrobe somewhere. And you could cold call them and say, do you want to get rid of your gear?
yeah, I did, but they've all got icons.
How many people do we think this is actually affecting? I1 to I3,
So,
I1 to I3 in the UK.
As I said,
20 people, 100 people.
I've not. I mean, Facebook's probably not the best place to do it, and I don't think I've covered all the drop zone groups yet. But it's not even reached 100 yet in terms of people that are affected, which is surprising. Maybe.
Okay.
So
well, at the moment we're at 1% of the membership.
Yeah, but that seems low to me. To know that feels.
It does feel a bit low. I thought it'd be more.
Yeah,
than that.
So I'm not sure my pool is the best in terms of Facebook. And
yeah, it's a shame we don't have details on file of people's equipment.
If only we had somebody who could influence that.
Maybe someone could put out a survey, a gear survey.
Not a survey. It should be in your profile page on Skyvault. It should be what's your all your equipment.
Not a bad shout, actually.
Main, reserve, container, AAD, deployment.
Yeah,
I mean, it does change quite a lot, but yeah, it'd be quite nice for them.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was something that obviously would, in an ideal world, would be involved in the system. And I know, Craig, you did some work with a friend of mine, John, when he was looking at doing kit and docs, and if we could integrate that into something, because I think it'd be brilliant to have some idea of what people's equipment is on their.
Because we only find out when an incident report goes in.
Yeah, and if we had it on their file when they fill in an incident report, that could all be dynamically filled for them.
Yeah,
which would make reporting things a hell of a lot easier.
It's funny you should say that, because that's exactly how Graham Spicer specs the incident reporting system when he did the spec form.
I am
What
yet to
is
see any of these early spec docs and
It's all
scoping
right.
stuff.
I'll let it go one day.
what is the process for getting the icons ungrounded then? So Aerodyne has to do something to allay people's fears, and then the riggers committee will meet and decide to
Yeah, I
unground
guess
them,
so.
and then that gets ratified by SDC.
Yes, probably. I'm not 100% certain what the process would be.
Okay.
It
But
really is my area of expertise within British skydiving. You need to get Ryan on here. Hassle Ryan
would like
about
to.
icons. Yeah, I
But
think
it's
you should put him next time.
even if that's the case, it's not that simple, is it? Because we already have a difference of opinions. Because, as we said earlier, 2 drop zones have chosen to continue to ground icons despite a service bulletin that says
Well,
this is the
2 drop
solution
zones,
for.
4 drop zones.
Is it 4? Okay.
Well, it's Go Skydive,
Yeah. Oh, I
which
see.
is 3
So
drop zones,
all 3 of theirs. Yeah.
and
And
also
Nether Open.
Nethers.
Is there anybody else? But
Not that I know of, but it could be.
I would say this without sounding dismissive. Go Skydive 3 doesn't count because apart from their staff, potentially camera people, they aren't really going to have a lot of icons going through their Headcorn. The only place that's really going to see, a significant number of icons, I would say. So I'd still say in effect 2 drop zones really, but yeah, and because of the way Go Skydive works, if I don't know, do they provide the equipment for their instructors, or
I think they
For the
have.
instructors, you'd hope so.
Yeah,
Sorry?
for the instructors, the camera guys, they used to have a pooler kit for.
Yeah.
But
Their apprentices, I think they do as well.
yeah, for the
So
like for the
again, it's a
apprentices.
non-issue then for them. They have no fun jumpers and the equipment for their.
And I think
At
all
2
their
and 3
stuff
drop
they
zones,
had
yeah.
is vectors. So
Yeah, so definitely can't count it as 4 drop zones, and definitely say 2. It's 2 sport drop zones. So yeah, I've forgotten how we got onto that now.
Well, how does this end?
Oh yeah,
I think
how
I was
do we
asking
unground?
how we
Oh yeah, no, I
resolve
was saying
this.
so because it's not that simple. Because like I said, we've got British Skydiving have issued a service bulletin, yet 2 drop zones have decided to be more stringent than that, which is fine. That's pretty common because it's the same like with ops manual. That's a basic level of stuff, and any drop zone is they are able to create more stringent requirements to any of those rules if they so wish or desire. So I don't have an issue with that, but whether you let people jump in a certain wind or not is a bit different from grounding a whole manufacturer's equipment. I think that's much more fundamental, and it is a much bigger issue, a bigger question. So there's a sort of a schism. There's a disagreement between what the riggers have decided is safe, between what drop zones have decided is, or it's not safe. Sorry, their risk appetite, their tolerance for risk, and is different. And I don't. So even if the smaller ones had, was resolved, that might not be good enough for some drop zones because they could do that, and that's when it gets really awkward and really tricky because, yeah, what do you do then? So there is a path to, I think. So when I put my question on Facebook saying, what's happening, and Lucy said some questions have been put to Aerodyne. So I'm as a result of the investigations that have happened. So Aerodyne need to respond to those, I guess, either to confirm or deny, or even suggest resolutions for those if they agree that they are issues. But yeah, there's a lot of toing and froing and investigations and research and testing before it even goes back to a committee to decide whether they are happy with that process and those results and that information before it will get lifted. And this is why I felt I couldn't wait, and I had to sort myself out for a rig, because otherwise I wouldn't be sport jumping for the rest of the year.
And those 10 jumps aren't going to jump themselves, are they?
Exactly, Brian. Yeah, it's really worthwhile this to make Boris steal a rig, get all my stuff moved over. Yeah, it's another repack because I only just had my Icon repack before it got grounded. It's proven very expensive, but it's all tax deductible, right?
Yeah, if you're an instructor in the sport, of course it is. Front cover photo. Our front cover photo for today. This show will be, you can see it as our front cover photo on Facebook. It was taken by the wonderful Bruno, Brokken, friend of the show. And this is a 39-way star over the Costa Emporia Brava in Spain. And I love the way this has been framed, and I just love everything about this photo. It's the most perfect big star photo I've ever seen in my life. Do you guys like it?
Yeah, it looks great. I'm jealous. Craig doesn't like
Craig
it.
has no.
Clearly.
Craig's too grumpy. I was on a big star once back in my day. Back when I ran British Skydiving, we didn't have anything as small as a 40-way star. We just had 50-way stars. Yeah, it's absolutely superb. Please go check it out. It's our front cover. It's our cover photo on our Facebook page, and it'll be embedded in the podcast if you want to go. If your audio player, podcast player shows those sorts of things, it's really cool. Thank you to Bruno for letting us use it. If you've got a photo you'd like us to share, please send it to studio@radioskydive.uk. We'd love to hear from you guys. There's some crazy shit going on with some swooping gear and custom risers. No, we're talking about that next time, aren't we? Fine. Perfect.
That was the one thing we did cut out.
No, I deleted other stuff as well. There was some military jumps today into some part of the world that isn't the UK, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
Not today. I think it was it yesterday or the day before? 2 days ago now, but I think the press came out yesterday. Yeah. So there's been an outbreak of hantavirus on a cruise ship on the MV Hondius. And sadly a couple of people have died as a result of it.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, you were going to say something funny until I said somebody had died. What were you going to say?
I was going to say a massively inappropriate joke, and then you made it even so much worse by making it reminding everyone how serious this situation is. But hantavirus, anyone who's got small kids will probably know an NSPCC, like National Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Children song called Pantosaurus. And it's a hilarious song that got played quite a lot when you were a kid, and it comes up in our household every so often. When something's being inappropriate, it's just a very, very funny thing. And every time I hear hantavirus, I just think Pantosaurus, which is inappropriate for a very deeply serious topic. I'm just going to mute myself for a moment.
So yes, sadly, a couple of people have died from it, and a couple of people have apparently been infected. Brian, you haven't muted yourself. Oh, he has now. Brian, no, he hasn't. Oh God. There we go. Yes. So, and hantavirus has a very long incubation period, and there's been a lot of trouble, concern where there are places refusing to let the Hondius dock, but I think they're finally docked in Spain, and people have been offloaded, including a couple of Brits who are now back home for quarantine. That's all by the by, very long story. But one interesting thing is that the cruise ship stopped off on its way and dropped off one of the passengers who was also a resident of Tristan da Cunha, which is an island literally in the middle of nowhere, but halfway between South America and Africa. And what I hadn't realized is the population of Tristan da Cunha is about 220. So, we're talking about really small odds here of that, that person ending up there, but that's how it goes. Anyway, this person has come down with hantavirus, but there is very little medical support on the island to help them, and they were running short of supplies. So the British military have stepped in by flying an A400 down there via the Ascension Islands with the support of and a 330 Voyager, which is the refueling aircraft, to get down there in order to drop some members of the Pathfinder Regiment, including some medical expertise strapped to the front of a couple of them, and a load of supplies onto the island to treat the poor person who is suffering from hantavirus. So yeah, so an extraordinary effort to help this person, but it's captured the imagination of a lot of people. I think it's quite, despite the tragic backstory, I think it's quite a good news story. As I said, captured imagination, the coming together of government and military forces and training to deliver that support in somewhere very, very far away. Yeah, so and just so the story came out yesterday, but today they've just released some video. And yesterday I noticed the MOD put some photos up, and one of the guys that was jumping out, you could see he had an Insta 360 camera on his helmet, and I just noticed that picture. I was like, I'd love to see that footage. And then the MOD just released it today, so there's some great footage of the guys jumping out. They had to delay the jump by a day because it's an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and I think it's pretty windy over there, so they waited a day. And even when they did jump, I mean, they couldn't see where they were going. It's pretty cloudy, but it's a good spot. But they opened up quite a way out to sea, and you can see the videos, the guys holding out to sea, and then last minute heads downwind to come into land. And then when it turns back into wind, he's not going anywhere. So yeah, the winds are pretty spicy there, but they all got in and landed safely. And I think the islanders and the person who needs treating very much appreciates it. I don't know. I mean, the guys that did the jump were going to have a great story. This is like, not many people get to do operational jumps like this. But I think there's a bit of a question mark as to how long it's going to take to get them off the island, because the reason why they dropped them in is there's no airfield there. So that's why they had to be dropped in. So a plane can't come and pick them up. So they've got to wait for a boat to come and get them, which might be a while. So yeah, would you do a great jump like that? An interesting jump, an infamous jump that gets a lot of press, if you knew that it was going to cost you a fair bit of your time before you got rescued from there yourself? I don't know. I think I'd like to. I wouldn't mind. Not that it would ever. I'd have the opportunity, not being in the military or military qualified, but that is a great one to have in the logbook. And I'm sure whoever did that jump will be living off that story for a long time, and I hope it's worth the wait while they get rescued for it.
I heard the spot. I don't know a lot about this. I haven't seen the footage, but I heard the spot was 3 miles out to sea.
It looked quite a way out. It's difficult.
That's what the guy said on the interview.
Yeah,
he got dropped 5 kilometers out.
Could well be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bonkers. And there was 2 tandems. Did you say that?
Yeah, a consultant doctor and another medical personnel. I don't know if it's a nurse or somebody like that. And then, so I'd say it's kept a lot of imagination. I'm also a bit of an aviation nerd as well, so some of the aviation resources picked up on it, and Flight Radar posted, the radar tracks, the ADS-B tracks of it, and you can see on there that they did a pass at 10,000 feet, which presumably is where the parachutes got out, and then they went around and did a much lower pass, which would be them dropping the supplies. And there's pictures of a lot of oxygen canisters that the MOD have put out as well. So great, interesting to see that detail as well, for the aviation nerds like myself.
Cool.
I've got the video, and I'm just trying to see if I can get a screenshot, which is not great audio to show you guys.
We'll put it as a link.
Yeah. I've got it. I'm gonna share it to you guys on the WhatsApp.
And we
you
will
tell me
share it
whether
as
you
for
think
listeners.
this is. No, I'm just gonna
Do
show
you
it
want
to
us
you
to watch it
guys.
now?
No, I'm just gonna send you the picture. That's all.
All right.
You tell me. I mean, the trouble is he's holding into wind for quite a while, and there's clouds. So I don't think this is the first time they see the land. So he's probably a lot further out
wow.
when they opened. But I think that's pretty much the first time he's looking at the land.
That
So
is a very small community in a very small, rugged
yeah,
edge of an island.
yeah, in the middle of nowhere. So
Like you miss
And
that,
actu-
you're dead.
yeah, although to be fair, it's not. There's a lot of green there, so yeah. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd miss it whether you'd landed where you wanted to or not. I don't know, but I think they all landed where they wanted to. So yeah, a great. It's great visuals, great bit of PR for the military, I think, and for the people doing those jobs, and probably do wonders for recruitment for the army and for the air force when they see that. Yeah, love it. Really cool.
Awesome.
What's next, Brian?
Thank you to them. So talking about jumping out over the sea, a lady, Amber Forte, is going to jump out over land, but fly across the sea, going to fly across the English Channel sometime this summer coming up. And she posted a teaser thing on her Instagram and was very active with the replying to comments and things. So I reached out to her and she has expressed a desire to be interviewed for the podcast, but we need to run that past Red Bull hierarchy first. So I have dropped them an email and I got the out of office saying they'll get back to us. So we'll see. Hopefully we can talk to her because it's like a story that's got to be shared. She's been training for a long time. Keen to see how it happens. Another military group jumped.
I was just going to say historically. So Felix did it on a carbon fiber wing, didn't he?
Is that the guy that landed in a bush and fell over? That's the guy. He flew across on like a rigid wing thing.
Yeah.
Deployed his
and
parachute.
then he jumped from the edge of space. And then he died last year, didn't he? He had a medical
paragliding
incident while paramotoring, wasn't it? I think so.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
But yeah, he did fall over when he landed. But I can imagine he was probably quite tired, and the wing was quite.
We're talking about the paramotoring here, or are we talking about something else?
When he crossed the channel on the carbon fiber wing.
Not when he had a medic. Yeah. Anyway, let's not go there.
So this is going to be a wingsuit crossing, isn't it? So
correct.
Obviously,
and a proper wingsuit.
Technology has improved a lot since then. So the glide ratio on wingsuits now versus then, it wouldn't have been possible on wingsuits back then, but now it would be. But they're still going to have to get out. Amber's still going to get out. And is it Espen will be filming it? Isn't Espen Fadnes will be?
We don't know yet. We haven't interviewed her, so we don't know these things. Shall we save it for later?
Okay. But they're going to be getting out pretty high. What we do know is that she's been training with oxygen in preparation.
He's not very good at taking hints, is he, Lucy?
I'm teasing it.
We teased it, and now you
didn't tease it enough. People need detail.
Craig's gone on to full-on third base.
Yeah, exactly. Red Devils jumped. Another military team did some jumps into 10 tours, and that's a thing near you, Lucy. What is 10 tours?
It is a thing near me. So so 10 tours takes place on Dartmoor every year, and it's like a rite of passage for like teenagers down here. You get set loose on the moors for a few days, and you either do a 35, 45, or a 55-mile hike, and you have to plot your hike to 10 of the tours. A tour is basically a big pile of rocks across Dartmoor, and I did it when I was 16, and it was hellish but fun. But yeah, it was great to see the Red Devils jumping in that. So I shared that on socials earlier because it made me feel all happy inside to see something from down here. But yeah.
How often are you in the office?
Few times a month.
Fair enough.
I mean, I've been there like every week for the last few weeks, especially stepping into this new role. But the majority of what I do is remote. But I go up to the office as needed and as often as I can.
4 hours each way?
4.5.
And I'm assuming you don't take the motorhome, you take a car.
No. Yes, I take a car. I got a new car. I had to buy a new car. Mine decided to give up the ghost, so I've brought a comfy car to drive, one with like
Okay.
cruise
Cruise control.
control and
Air
heated
conditioning.
seats, and it's
Ooh.
automatic, so I can be really
I
lazy.
told you we were paying you too much.
Yeah, no, it's not a new car. It's an old car. But all these things are new to me, Brian. Like
Yes.
I've
no,
never
I
had a posh
understand.
car before. But yeah,
And
no, I
my
mean, I
car won't
like
die
going
yet,
into
so
the
I'm still.
office. I do like going into the office, but I like living in Devon more. Got to
Cool.
be by the sea.
There was another military team did a jump that was kind of impressive. Craig?
Yeah, impressive. I don't think it was technically difficult. I don't know, but
They landed on a boat.
was. It's not a boat; it's a ship. to be, but it's quite a big ship. And again, another one.
That's why I was late for the podcast. I was in the bathroom.
Because you were on a ship.
I was in the bathroom having a big ship.
That's really annoying. My lights have gone off, and I want to tell my smart speaker to turn them back on, but that would sound really funny in the podcast.
Hey Google, turn Craig's office lights back on.
She can't hear you. Okay, Google, turn on study lights. Magic. So they.
Oh my god, the glare!
I really should wear a hat. So yeah, I don't think too technically difficult, but a great one to have in your logbook. So they landed on the deck of Queen Elizabeth, one of the UK's two newish aircraft carriers. So yeah, that'd be an amazing one to have in the logbook. So that was the Royal Navy team. I think that was the Raiders. A couple of guys from there jumped us there. So I was lucky enough to go on to the Queen Elizabeth. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. So we had a Royal Aero Club meeting there on board, and we got a tour of the ship and got to stand on the end of the ramp on, where the jump jets, F-35s take off, which was pretty cool. So I have an appreciation for how big that deck is. So, but yeah, still pretty cool.
I bet it felt huge to you, but I bet it feels tiny to a pilot insisting in a jet plane.
Oh yeah, I was going to say somebody under a parachute. What about if you're under a parachute? Well, not an F-35, because they can land vertically, so that's not tricky. So if they're doing VTOL, but I think even though from my impression it's pretty big, I think it's still high profile enough that it would still focus your mind very much. That, and I guess it was in Portsmouth, so the dock's a pretty busy place, the waterway's a pretty busy place, so you don't really want to be landing elsewhere, so you're going to be quite focused on that. There'll still be a lot of pressure. I think
it's 900 feet long, 284 meters, but I can't find a width. But this boat is 80,000
You doing that now to wind me up, honey?
Sometimes on purpose.
Yes, most times.
So it's 300 meters long almost. So it's pretty big. Like, shouldn't miss it. A width of 73 meters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're looking at the beam there, mate.
Okay.
That's something different. I don't know what it is.
I'm looking at the cruise ship, Queen Elizabeth.
Dickhead.
That's not the right one.
Anyway, so that was where did the Royal Navy train? Where was the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier?
So I'm presuming it was in Portsmouth. I think it was in Portsmouth, which is where it's based.
Okay.
But the team, I think, train at Tilstock, don't they?
I don't know.
So I'm told.
They were recently doing some training at Tilstock, yeah.
I think that's what they do most of it these days. Yeah.
Okay.
But still,
cool.
Would love that. Would be a jump to have in your logbook, wouldn't it? So what's better, Tristan da Cunha or landing on the QE?
Landing on the QE, Tristan da Cunha.
Yes.
I think Tristan da Cunha.
But then having to stay there for a while before they pick you up again.
Yeah, fine. It's like they're still getting paid.
Yeah.
It's like Lucy's working from home, jobbing. What's next? Craig, so talking about the Royal Aero Club, they're going to make you cry. You're getting an award.
Again?
You didn't actually cry, though, did you? That was me making it up. I think.
I thought I did.
You got some awards.
You convinced me.
I can't remember. I don't know. Whatever.
Don't worry, Brian. I'll be there to capture all of his tears of joy.
Oh, really? Well, with a little cup underneath his cheeks. He's going to go around with 2 little cups underneath his cheeks.
And then
I'll have the camera out
as relics. Okay. Yeah.
So you're winning you've won an award.
Yes.
They give awards away to anybody these days, don't they? What's
they
this
do,
one
don't
for?
they? All you have to do is give up half your life for British Skydiving.
All you have to do is have a friend on the council of the Royal Aero Club.
No, so it's not even like the each member association of the Aero Club nominates people from their association for an award. So it's not the Aero Club that have nominated me. British Skydiving nominated me. There is a committee at the Aero Club who decides whether it's worthy enough of receiving an award, and they either agree or not agree to that. So they have deemed that my nomination by British Skydiving is worthy of an award. So yeah, I'm honoured with a bronze medal. So there is an awards lunch tomorrow. It's going to be held at Brooklands, and it's quite exciting. They've got a museum attached at Brooklands, and they have a Concorde there. So I'm very excited to go and see Concorde, which we get free access to. Yeah, I think so. It looks like there are stairs onto it from the Googling that I did. I hope so. I think it'd be a bit pointless, wouldn't it, to have a Concorde and not let people on it? I've been on the one at have I been on two? I've been on Duxford. There's one at Duxford. I've been on board that one. Is there another one? So there's one at Filton. Has I been on that one? I don't know. But yeah, I think it'd be pretty pointless to have a Concorde and not let people on it. They normally sort of cover things in plastic and don't let you sit in the seats or go in the cockpit and stuff like that. But you can walk through it and see. The one at Duxford is interesting because it was the experimental one, so it's full of test equipment. I've never been on one that's actually kitted out for passenger flight. We'll see. So I'm almost looking forward to that as much as I am to getting my award. So I think I'm going to be seeing Lucy. Lucy's going to represent as one of the representatives of British Skydiving.
I will be there.
The awards. We also have
got a posh rock and everything.
Ooh.
Wow.
I had to check what one wears to a luncheon. Who knew?
Oh, is it a sit down? Is it a sit down lunch?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a bit posh compared to when I went along to watch.
Yeah. So because when you went before, that was when it was at the Aero Club in London, and it was sort of an evening thing, and there would be canapes and drinks, but it was a lot of people rammed into a very small hot room. So
and a royal who's no longer royal gave out some awards and made some cringeworthy statements on the stage.
Yeah. So now they've changed the format to be a lunch. So I think partly because a lot of the people who receive awards are generally older and they can't
stand up for a buffet.
That's not true. They do have a lot of young people getting awards as well, but there are a few older people.
Welcome to the club,
myself included. Now, so yeah, it's just a bit nicer to be sat down for a bit. And
that is pretty. It's a pretty cool award today. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. So I get a day off work. It's nice.
Oh, did you have to take annual leave, or did you get given an extra day?
No, I have taken. I didn't. I haven't gone to work. Oh, I'm getting an award. Give me a day off. No, I took annual leave.
And who's going to present the award?
So I think it is an Air Vice Marshal from the RAF. They have.
Okay.
I think he did it last year, and this is a great piece of nominative determination. The Air Vice Marshal's his surname is Fluin.
Excellent.
And he was a pilot. He is a pilot. So
Excellent.
Air Vice
Fantastic.
Marshal flew in. Yeah.
Oh.
So who else is going for British Skydiving, Lucy? Who else have I got to look
So
forward to?
it's
The pleasure
me
of the company.
and Lizzie, our compliance officer. We are
Checking up on you,
representing
Craig.
tomorrow.
Say again, Brian.
Checking up on you.
Make sure I behave myself. So I'm driving, so I can't even avail myself of alcohol, sadly.
See, I'm
But-
driving to a friend's house, and then I'm getting a cab there, so I can have a glass. Yeah. Well, I've got about a 4-hour drive first thing in the morning, so I'm gonna be up in a few hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The joys of living in Devon.
So you're coming up from Devon. You must be. Are you driving past me on the way?
Whereabouts are you?
Marlborough. Which way are you going? You're going on the 303.
Shall we do this after the
Yeah,
show?
probably go 303. Yeah, but I'm staying up.
Yay.
I'm going to go and stay at my mate Ross's. So,
Yeah.
Lucy,
otherwise, I'm
one
doing like
last
10
thing.
hours of driving in one day.
Oh, we're losing you.
Am I on mute?
Oh,
Am I just being
I have-
ignored?
I
Lucy,
think Lucy's
hello.
signal's a bit flaky.
Yes.
You once studied at the School of Hard Knocks. Which story would you like to share with
I
us?
did, yes. Oh, well, I think probably the juicier one is the free fall collision,
Go on then.
which happened. Oh, how many years ago was this? It's probably about 3 years ago now. And
So how many jumps have you got now?
if I ever get round to counting up my logbook, it's about 800 and something.
Right, okay.
Which, given the amount of years I've been doing this sport, is not very many. But I've spent more time on the ground than in the air in this sport. But hey, it is what it is. But no, I was down at Dunkeswell, and one of the girls, I think it was like a 100th jump. It was a milestone jump, and she'd asked if I'd organise something for a jump. So we'd picked a nice, easy little 5-way, nice and simple, dirt dived it. And I sort of did the caveat of, look, no one else is joining this now. We've dived this. This is the plan. No one else is joining this. Get to the flight line. There's 2 more people. Oh yeah, she said it'll be all right. We're just going to join in. So I'm like, I knew the guys. They were, reasonably experienced skydivers. One of them was an instructor. So I thought, well, they'll probably be a safe enough bet. Just follow us out, because I think we were launching a 3-way just because wanted to make sure we got the girl in the middle. I was like, just follow us out and dock on it when it's flat and level. How many times do skydives go to plan? 2 guys follow out after us. One of them goes straight through the middle of the formation. We managed to rebuild. Oh, it didn't hit me that time. It was after we rebuilt, one of them decided that he'd try and film it and decided to come over the top of it whilst not wearing wings, whilst not briefing any of us, gets over the top of us, suddenly realizes that there's no air, and he's tried to bail off to the side of it. But all that's happened is he's just come down and just taken my shoulder out. And I've got a video of it. I'll send you the video. You're more than welcome to share the video. It's quite fun. And I've not really realized what's happened. I've just been hit. I've done a little tumble, and then I've just got stable, and then I've just popped back up into the formation and gone like, oh, okay, right, carry on. As you do in free fall. Skydive ends, I turn, track away a bit, open canopy, reach up for my toggles, and straight away I'm like, oh, that's not right. And I've realized my left arm is now kind of incapacitated, shall we say. I had hold of my toggles, but I couldn't pull my left arm down any. So at this point, I'm thinking I've obviously damaged something in my shoulder. So there was a lot of sort of right-hand spirals to get down. Luckily, it was a windy enough day that I didn't need to worry about a full flare. I managed to get a couple of inches of flare, and it was fairly long, soft grass. So I landed without any incident. And I'm sort of lying there, and I'm just trying to assess the damage at this point, because I wasn't in a huge amount of pain. but I just couldn't lift my left arm. So I've shrugged my rig off and I've tucked it into my jumpsuit and I've flagged over one of the other guys and they've grabbed my kit and we've gone back over. And luckily there was an ex-army medic on the airfield who kindly came over and assessed the damage and had a look at it, and just kind of had me rotate my arm outwards, like held and tried to get me and tried to rotate my arm outwards, and it just got a chunk and just popped back in. So it must have been like, you reckon it was like a partial dislocation. Unfortunately, this was the weekend before the 8-way nationals. So I was none too pleased. I had it iced in a sling, strapped up. Yeah, so it was a week before the 8-way nationals. So I went to the nationals, had it all strapped up, and I tried a couple of jumps. And I mean, I could fly my canopy, but holding onto a rotating 8-way formation was not really good. So I retired myself. And then rested it up for a little bit longer. I'm really lucky. It wasn't anything worse. But if it was a couple of inches to the right and it was my neck, I'd be dead. Like you
Wow.
watch the video and how hard it hits. It's scary. Like it didn't feel that bad at the time, as things don't in free fall, and adrenaline's pumping and you just kind of crack on with it. But yeah, when you watch the video and how hard it hits, it reminds you like how quickly something could go from, a bit of fun to something quite tragic very, very quickly. And it also reminded me of that adage of, when you when you plan a dive, don't change the plan for anyone.
Hmm.
Stick to your
Hmm.
guns. And I'd always normally follow that, but when it's someone else's jump and they're so excited and they want all their friends on it, and just kind of pressured into allowing that person to make the decision to have extra people on there. And obviously it was not the best idea, but we live and learn. And I'm
Glad you're okay.
lucky that I was not more injured. And yeah.
When did you realise that your shoulder was sore, before or after you'd popped the toggles?
It was after I'd popped the toggles, because I
Okay.
managed to release them, and then I was like, oh, I can't properly move it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Because there's been
And
a
then
few incidents that I've known about recently, like 3 friends in the last 12 months have had a dislocated shoulder, or last 18 months have had a dislocated shoulder, and all 3 of them have popped the toggles and tried to flare one-handed, and only one has done it successfully.
it never occurred to me to put the toggles into one hand and do one-handed flares. Like,
Okay.
it was something obviously I spoke with Ryan at great length about this, and he debriefed me thoroughly many, many times about
I
what
bet
I
that
should
was
have
super
done.
useful.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it's my pillow talk with my husband is just amazing. I mean, I get fully debriefed on every near miss incident or anything that happens, especially to me. Thankfully, there's not too many. But like we spoke about it, and I didn't feel confident flaring with one hand, so I didn't try it. I felt
Mhm.
confident that I had enough ability to steer the canopy. I felt confident that I could get safely to a landing area that was clear and open, free hazards. There was enough wind. It was long grass, and I just slid it in. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not on a stupidly small canopy. I think I was jumping a 150 at the time.
So like a
So it,
1.2, 1.3 wing loading, or
oh, it's something I
ish.
don't
Okay,
know.
fine.
Ish, yeah.
It was a number
Like,
between 1 and
yeah.
1.5.
But yeah. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, you should have done this and you should have done that," but the reality is, I did what I felt safe doing at the time, and I landed
Mhm.
without incident, and I walked away from it.
There's a couple of tutorial videos on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, of how to flare one-handed and what you can do, because there's some paraplegic skydivers who go out and do this. But
Mm.
if it happens to me, having seen what's gone on in the last 18 months, I'm just going to leave my toggle stowed. I'm just going to land at half brakes. I'm an AFF instructor. I teach students every week. Landing priority number 1, land with a flat, level, fully flared canopy above your head. And if I pop the toggles, it's going to be much harder. It becomes an unknown quantity if I can flare evenly with one hand. Whereas if I don't pop the toggles, I can land under a flat level, half flared canopy. And I think for me, that's just using working the percentages, whatever that say. It just seems like that's going to be the most sensible thing to do. It's not the glory thing, but it just feels like a really safe thing to do. And I'm just going to harness turn or rear riser turn to get where I need to be and just do as little as possible. It just like not even going to try.
Like having the presence of mind to do that self-check to see if you've got that movement before you reach up and actually fire your toggles. I just, it's such an automatic thing, canopy's open, you reach up, grab the toggles, and then it's like, ow, I can't
So
really move that arm. I hadn't realized at that point before I grabbed the toggles.
Yes.
But
because partial dislocation, whereas I think the 3 instances I'm thinking about here were proper dislocations who couldn't, and they chose to unstow the toggles to fix it, to fly. But yeah, there you go. Craig, what are you gonna do? You going for glory? We're going for the average percentages, playing the percentages.
Go for glory.
Cool. Hope you got insurance.
I think I don't think I'd do anything. I think I'd test myself to make sure I was capable of it before, as much as I could.
The things you don't know until you get to that point, and then you're stuck.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Anyway,
you could have practiced on the canopy simulator at the symposium, Craig.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are good.
But it's a good question to ask because a small canopy that's relatively highly loaded. So it's an even more important question for me, really.
Yeah, I'm jumping. My primary canopy is a Sabre 3 135 with a wing loading of about 1.45, give or take with lead and things. Yeah, so I would not be trying to fly that. I'm just going. Okay. Well, not with the toggles.
Yeah.
There you go, listeners.
My canopy's up to 94. So
you're still on a 94.
What do you mean still?
Well, you're getting older now, mate.
A 94 what?
JFX. So not too wild.
You sold the 81, didn't you? Or was it a 71?
80. No, so I had an 81 Sensei and I sold that. I had an 84 Valkyrie and I sold that.
Okay.
So I did a lot of jumps on the 81 Sensei, but I didn't do many on the Valkyrie because that was about the time when my first child came along. So yeah, that ended up getting sold with very few jumps on it, sadly.
Lucy, thank you very much for being on the show. Any final words?
You are more than welcome. Final words.
Listeners, remember how good this show was or wasn't, and then when Ryan's on, you write in and let us know whether you preferred Lucy or Ryan on the show. Okay?
No, you can't do that.
No,
I suppose
we'll run a poll, won't we, Brian?
One thing Absolutely. I would like to say is I genuinely do want members to reach out to me, apart from Craig, if they want to.
Oh wait, he's not a member. Oh no, he's a member now.
Oh,
I am a member. I'm a huge member.
Don't want to know about your huge member, Craig. Already heard enough about
reach out to you
earlier. Reach out to me and drop me an email, lucy@britishskydiving.org. If you want to get involved in anything in any way, if there's things you want to see or hear, or just what's happening in the sport, if there's things you feel passionate about and you want to see more of, just get in contact. I'm a skydiver. I really want to make this, make things better in general for skydivers. That is the main reason and purpose for me being here. So if people want to contact me about things around that, please do. I do not mind.
And how do people get in contact with you, Lucy?
I just
Lucy
gave
at
them my email
BritishSkydiving.com.
address. Yeah, Lucy
you
at
for listening, Craig.
Did I miss that?
BritishSkydiving.org.
God,
No,
my
.org.
brain.
.org,
Sorry.
Brian. I mean, or you can harass me on
.org.
Facebook like some people, but that's, you know, that's absolutely fine.
What would be, if you look back in 2 years' time, Lucy, what would be, and you were to reflect on your 2 years in this role, what would be a success for you?
I'd like to see the gap between the members and British Skydiving bridged a little bit more. There's, you know, I still turn up at drop zones and everyone's really negative. Oh, it's just British Skydiving. Oh, British Skydiving this. And it's the one thing that really gets my goat, because what do people mean when they say that? Are they just harking on about something they've heard repeated so many times, they just do it parrot fashion? Or do they mean, you know, the girls in the office who are answering the phones? Do they mean, you know, the safety team who are making decisions that they might not be happy about? What is it that people are annoyed about, and what is it they want to see changed? Like, if it's just decisions that are happening, people need to be mindful that it's often the staff don't have any control over the decisions that are made. They're made by the board, the committees. We just get paid to enact these things more often than not. So yeah, I just want people to not be so negative about British Skydiving, because there's a lot of people who are working really, really, really hard trying to get stuff improved and stuff better. Craig, stop laughing. Honestly, you know it's true.
I totally agree with you. I do. So I was going to say that earlier when, you know, British Skydiving is not this nebulous thing that, you know, British Skydiving is its members. So, and it is reliant on its members being involved and being active. Yes, you can just, you know, not care, just do your skydives and go home, and I don't want to get involved in any of that. But, you know, we are, you know, a collection of the total of all the members, and so we all can offer something, have stuff to offer. So get involved, and Lucy is offering herself here to be that conduit. So I would heartily recommend everyone make use of it, because it's a bit like voting. You know, if you don't get involved, then you can't complain about it. So, you know, I welcome Lucy and thank her for putting herself out there and being willing and wanting to change and make beneficial changes for members in the association.
Oh,
good luck, Lucy. And
Yes,
just for our listeners,
because I also smiled when you said about members being negative, because I've had 20 years of members being negative and me being negative as well sometimes. So
and you know, I've been that person too.
One. Yes, we all have. So,
we
but
all
that's
have,
why we get involved, because
I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm throwing myself out there, and
that's to be commended, yes, and supported, and nothing else. So
I mean, not wishing to be a pedant, but that's how we run this show, Lucy. I think you're putting members' money where your mouth is, because you're not paying to be there; they're paying you. And I just did a quick Google. I just did a quick internet search, and BritishSkydiving.com does route to BritishSkydiving.org. But unfortunately, Lucy at BritishSkydiving.com doesn't work. The email address is Lucy at BritishSkydiving.org. I was just trying things out because Craig was on one of his monologues or something. I don't know. Any last words, team?
Thank you very, very much for having me, guys. This was sprung
She's
upon
so
me very
polite.
last minute.
Craig, I like this one. Can we keep her?
No, I do appreciate
this is what Brian does.
opportunity.
Brian never does anything in advance. He's always last minute. So
Brian's got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
To be fair, when did the outline come out then, Craig?
Over the weekend? Was it over the weekend or Monday? Was it? I don't know.
What? Yeah, today is Monday.
Today is Monday. Yeah.
So no, it was over the weekend then. Was it yesterday?
So, listeners, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you. If you like the show, you should subscribe. You'll be the first to hear when our future shows go out. Please send us your photos, emails, and voice memos, especially if you did like or didn't like this episode. Record a message on your smartphone and email us at studio@radioskydive.uk. Or if you're feeling lazy, just post on socials and tag us, #radioskydive.uk. Just a quick shout out to Simon Perry for his kind words. When he saw me at Drop Zone, he said he'd been really enjoying what was going on, especially the Aerodyne Icon updates and some explanation of that.
Yeah,
and
we did get a bit of feedback. people
And
appreciating that conversation. So I hope we've not bored people by queuing up. It's a big deal at the moment. I think especially for me, but it's a reasonable deal going on.
And Ryan.
Not just in this country.
And Ryan.
Yes. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile talking about. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a way forward soon.
Stay safe, stay sane, stay calm, and make good decisions.